Yo, what's up, everybody? We're dropping a new build today. Today is November 13th, 2025. So we got a new build up if you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux. And I want to run through the new build. This is a huge build, tons of new changes, lots of things changing, moving from a lot of placeholder items to, final versions, well, work in progress versions of things. So, before we had the work in progress rider. All those things are changing. Now we've got the new rider. Let me go through the list quickly here. All right, real quick, here are the patch notes. We're going to go through all these things together. But we got the new rider model, new rider animations, 3 new trails that are raceable, 2 other new trails that are not raceable, new improved top physics. All the cameras have been redone because of the new rider. We'll go into details here in a minute. Fakie controls are now inverted. We've got an improved ragdoll. Fixed the bug where you couldn't respawn to your marker if you were in a crash state. Fixed some issues with the framework spike. It had a missing chain guide. One of the brake rotors was backwards. The calipers were in the wrong position. Those things have been fixed. I think there's only one issue left. Oh, the headset. We also made the headset look a little beefier and nicer. There's one other issue that it needs teeth on like the front chain ring. So we're going to add those. But other than that, I think it's pretty much done. We added missing keyboard controls for the drone and changing the camera. Now V enters drone mode and C changes camera, but you've been warned. I think we're going to remove keyboard controls altogether. I know it's going to upset some people, but we believe the game is best played with a controller. Most of the other games in this genre require you to have a controller. I think keyboard controls are bad. We're also a small team. We have one programmer, and trying to manage keyboard controls and controller and all these things adds more work for us. So I think for the time being, it's probably just going to be a controller. Other stuff I'm probably forgetting. But anyway, those are the patch notes. So I'm going to go through, as my rider takes off on me, I'm going to go through and show you all of these things, and we'll talk about them. All right, so as I said, new rider model, that's the main thing. So Riley's in the game. We also have the guy, but he's not in the game yet, and you can't choose which one is which, or which one you have selected. That'll come in the future. So for now, you're forced to use Riley, but she's cool, so deal with it. So that's the biggest thing. And with that comes, finally, like before the old rider, everything was kind of one unit, very stiff. They weren't moving properly. So now Riley's got some animations. It's very much a work in progress still. And we've got a lot of work to do on the animations, but the start of it's in there. Also, first person's in here. You could see the arms aren't clipping like they used to. They're not just super cut off. So I think this looks much nicer solution. We spent a lot of time and had a lot of discussions on how to do this properly. If you see and you go in here and you really crank things to like weird positions, you can make it look worse. But I think in general, overall, it's quite a nice solution. So you still have a lot of camera freedom to customize the camera how you like, but you still see the arms and they look mostly normal. Let me go back to kind of how I like it. Something like this, maybe, I think, with the new camera settings. So the new cameras are completely different, so your settings are going to change. You can ignore kind of what you had before. One thing that needs to be improved is obviously like the look of the skin and the hands and all that. Like they kind of look plasticky and Barbie-like. So that stuff will change. Obviously gloves and all that stuff will come in the future. But very exciting that we've got new cameras, new rider. Things are looking better. It's not just like placeholder stuff anymore. Very exciting, in my opinion. So that's the main biggest changes. The other big changes were the 3 new race trails. And let's just run some times on them real quick. So if you go to the leaderboard menu, you can see we've got 3 new ones here: model ships, fledging, and lakeside. So let's go roll a lap on each one, and just to show them to you guys, and then we'll show you the other new trails. So here's the model ships. This one's meant to be a hidden trail. So this will kind of be the first hidden trail in the game that players are tasked with finding. It's not super hidden now, obviously, because you can fast travel to it, and we've got these huge like yellow beacons of light that point you in the direction of trails. So it's not super hidden now, but it will be in the future. And I guess we'll give it a second attempt. This one starts out with some tight single track stuff. I think it'll be even tighter once Maggie gets in here and puts more trees in, and I'm bouncing off trees. So it's super fun though. It's short. Like all these trails in the beginner section are meant to be short. Kind of just teach the player, oh my God, that tree twice in a row now. Teach the player kind of how racing works, get them used to it. You don't want overly long, crazy trails when you're a beginner. Makes it harder to get top to bottom and set times. So these were purposely meant to be quite short. I think all of them are probably going to be under a minute or so. This one's fun, has lots of different line choices, even though it's still short. This is going to be, I think, the hardest of the three. But it is the hidden one, so it's a little more, probably the last one the beginner players will play, even though we're playing it first. So nice. Opens up here at the end. Kind of got this nice, fast little freeway section. New hop physics. Boom. We talk about that in a second. So now you can hop way higher. So anyway, that's the first trail. It's fun. Model ships. You see me in first place. Come at me. Fledging's the second one. So this is probably the one that we're actually going to use. We're having an event in Morgantown, West Virginia. So if any of you are from Morgantown, West Virginia, this coming week, we've got an event. We're going to be having an event at a bike shop called Pathfinder. And I think we're going to use this trail because I think this trail is probably the easiest of the three for racing. It's got a little bit of tech. It's got some flowy stuff, but it has a nice variety too. You got some jumps, got some rocks, got a couple routes up here. I think it's fun. Good introduction to racing for new players, in my opinion. So this is the second new trail. It connects back into the same kind of ending of the other trail. So similar ending. I love little wheelie through the cranked arch. We did work on wheelie physics a bit, but we've kind of gone back and forth on those a lot, and they're still not perfect where we want them. So it's still a work in progress. The last trail here, there we go, Lakeside. So this is the flow trail, and it's mostly just a bunch of jumps. But this will be kind of the first trail where we teach the player the jump mechanic and how all that stuff works. Obviously, all the onboarding and tutorial stuff will come later. But the trails are now here. I think we're done with this beginner section. So what I'm going to start doing next week is designing all the challenges for this area. So the player will be tasked with probably at least 20 challenges to complete in this area. They probably have to complete maybe 50% of them to unlock the next area. So next week, that'll be my job, is working on setting up all those challenges. Not setting them up, but designing them. Jack will have to set them up later. This section's super fun. Lots of different ways to hit it here. Obviously, if you're racing, you're probably not going to want to take the booter. So these are the three new race trails. They're easier. They're meant to be kind of, introducing the player to the game and all that. So there you go. There's a first time on Lakeside for me. Those are the three new raceable trails. Now I want to go show you the other two trail sections that are not raceable. One of them is a continuation off of this trail. So if you take this jump straight and then you take this rock and hit this rock as a jump, it actually kind of pops you into this little secret hidden trail section. So this part's new. Fun little offshoot, kind of leads you back to this other booter right here, but it's a pretty sick little line you can take. So that's the other one of the new trail sections. The other one is if you go down here, this will actually be the very first trail people play in the game. This one's super mellow, and this is going to teach them the controls, and they will continue straight on this. But now we've added a little offshoot to the right, so you could take this little offshoot here, and there's a fun little flow trail, and there's a split lane coming up too, which is super sick. The nice hip. So I will just show you one of the split lanes, and you guys can get in here and check out the other split lane. I don't want to spoil everything. So the big hip is straight ahead, which is super fun, but I'll let you guys hit that. And then, if you want to take the more chill line, you can go this way. But the hip connects right back in there. So then you're back on the same line. And then from here, it's just some nice flowy big jumps. So that's the new, and then this connects back to Ziggy Stardust. So this is the ending of Ziggy Stardust, which takes you back here. Obviously, we don't have the lifts in the game yet, but all this stuff kind of goes down to this home base where there's going to be a bunch of chair lifts. So those are the new trails. What else did we do? Okay, let's talk about fakie controls. So let's go into third person, which actually third person looks good now, in my opinion. I mean, it's still work in progress, but fakie controls are now inverted, so it's much easier to control. In my opinion, this was a request from Old Potato, and I agree with them. So, and also now that the hops are improved, so the hops are much bigger now. So it's a lot easier to get in and out of fakie compared to before. Pretty easily just kind of do a hop 180 and hop 180 back, and it makes fakie much nicer. Improved the ragdoll. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but her and the bike kind of move around and can get tangled in each other. There's still a bug where the bike sounds continue, even though the bike is not moving. That Zach knows about and is working on. But yeah, so a little bit better ragdoll, cooler situations. Probably will get improved even more in the future someday. Oh yeah, fix that bug where if you were in a state like this before, you couldn't respawn at your marker. You'd have to hit B first, then respawn. But now you can just respawn. So we fixed that bug. Fixed keyboard controls. But let me talk about keyboard controls. I think we're going to remove them. I mentioned this in the post, but if you didn't read the post, yeah, we did add the keyboard controls. So now V will pop you into drone mode and C will change your camera. But we believe that this game is best played with a controller. That's how it's meant to be played. That's how it feels the best. It doesn't feel as good on keyboard. It's a worse experience. I understand there's some people who like it, for example, for playing in class and they can't have a controller in class and they want to play. And why I support you playing. I used to be playing games on an old calculator back in my day, so I get it. But you know, it just doesn't feel as good. It requires more work for our small team to support both controller and keyboard. So I think in the future, keyboard controls are probably going to go. This is your warning. Don't get attached to them. That's probably happening. But that's mostly the update. So 3 new race trails, new rider, new cameras, new animations that are work in progress. A lot of new things, new hop physics, fakie controls inverted. Lots of cool stuff. Hope you guys enjoy it. Love to hear your feedback. We understand that this build is going to feel quite different than the previous builds. You know, we had to redo, like I said, the rider, the animations, the cameras, some of the physics changed. The weight of the rider and kind of how all that works has been changed. A lot of it, I think, feels better. Some of it might feel worse. So let us know your thoughts, your opinions. We want to make sure everything's feeling good and dialed in. And, you know, there's obviously more work to be done. So let us know. Excited to see who wants to beat me on all the trails. And thanks for playing. If you don't have the game and you want to find out how to play, I can show you. And I'll do that right now. So if you already have the game, you can ignore this portion. If you don't have the game, let me walk you through it quickly. You just need to go to Patreon. So if you don't have the game and you want to start playing, you can play on PC, Mac, or Linux. You need to go to patreon.com, search for Cranked, or you can find the link in all of our bios and descriptions. Once you go there, there will be a membership section and you can join, and you need to join at the $5 tier or higher. The way it works is you get charged $5 a month. During that month, any update we do, you will get included in your subscription. If you cancel your subscription, you will quit getting updates, but you get to keep whatever the latest version was that you had while you were subscribed. So that's how that works. You can cancel anytime. If you end up staying subscribed long enough to accumulate $50 total spent in Patreon, you'll get a free Steam key when the game releases. After you join, you want to go to this it's right at the top of the page. You'll see Getting Started, Read First. Click on this section. You pop in here and there's 3 different things. First one is the itch.io link. This is how you can download the game. You're going to go to this link. You're going to connect your itch account to your Patreon account, and then you'll have access and you'll be able to download the game that way. I recommend you download the itch.io application. It's kind of like the Steam app where it has your library in there and it automatically keeps the games updated. So that way, every time we release an update, you don't have to go to this link, download a whole new build, blah, blah, blah. You just open up the itch launcher, it'll update the game for you, and boom. I think it's easier that way. So that's my recommendation to you. If you can't get that installed and you're having issues, just watch this last video here, how to install Crank development builds, and that'll walk you through it. That's the gist. It's $5. We think it's a fair price. It helps us. We're a small indie team and we need more money to make this game bigger and better. So all the money goes back into development. Appreciate you guys for supporting us. We're very active over on Discord, also on Patreon. So link of those will be in the description. Join those places. Talk to us. Tell us your feedback. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for playing. Thanks for making this a better mountain bike game. See you later.